Hello everyone, this is Augusta. Welcome to Augusta's Garden. Today's video is going to be on how to grow a plant on a piece of rock. So if you see, the final product will be something like this. Previous one that I have made, I have used a rock here, and I have with the method that I'm going to show you, I have made the plant take root onto the rock. This kind of arrangement you can use ideally for bonsais, or if you want to make an interesting looking landscape in a pot. So let's start a plain pot here. So what we will be doing is, since we are going to be using regular plants, not succulents, the soil mix is going to be different. So first let us line this. I will use some broken pieces of tile so that the drainage holes are covered, and then some pieces of tile around it, just so that the soil gets well drained as you water it. Then a layer of our regular potting mix underneath. This is just so that the plant gets its roots under the rock as well. So once you are satisfied with an amount of sand or of soil that you have put here, then now let's just lay the rocks. What I'm using here is Laterite Rocks. This is something that is easily available in our area here, and having small crevices like this will allow the plant's roots to go into the rock. So let's just arrange the rocks here. Maybe I'll have this at a slightly higher height, because I'm planning to use this stone as well here. So something like this. So maybe I need a little more soil in the pot. You can use any kind of an interesting stone to give your arrangement some character, and then place it the way you want it. You can put soil up to the level you want. So since the plant is going to grow on the rock itself, you don't really need to bury the plant in the soil. So the plant that I'm planning to grow on the rock is known as a Chinese holly. It gets very interesting root structure, and the flowers are very tiny and white. I can maybe have a picture of the flowers shown to you later on the screen. So let me just get the soil off the root. I can show you the interesting structure of the root. It gets a lot of fine fibrous roots which will grip the stone very nicely. So you can see here the roots. This is the root structure. It has a fat root here, so this is what maybe you can arrange on the stone, and have the plant at a higher level like this. So let's do that onto the stone. If it has longer roots, you can get that into the pot so that it will be able to get its nutrition as it is growing on the stone. Now, in order that the plant is able to get its nutrition while it is on the stone, what I'm going to do is put in some cocopeat here till the root establishes on the rock. It needs to be able to feed itself. The plant needs to feed itself. So what I'll do is I'll arrange some amount of cocopeat here. But before that, I thought I'd put another plant here of the same type. So I will unpot it and see how its root structure is. So this is the plant that I'm going to be using there. Okay, this doesn't have too many of the big roots, so let's see how we can arrange the roots on the rock. For this kind of an arrangement, it is very important for you to see the kind of plant that you're using should be something that has, oh, there's an earthworm here. The roots should have the ability to produce a lot of fibrous roots along with the taproot system. Here, how do they look together is something that you will also have to see. So my plan here is actually to have this one growing tall and this one will be a little shorter. Now it has got a very tall stem here before it branches off here, so I'm not sure whether I will be able to get that structure. So what I can do is maybe give it a slight bend. Later on, after having shaped this, I think it should look interesting. Of course, the shaping is going to take a lot of time. It will take almost a year maybe to get it to the shape that you want it. For that you need a lot of trimming and wiring. So now here I have some cocopeat. I think I will have to set it just so that it can stand, so that the plant can stand. This one is fine. It is taken the shape of the rock and it is quite firm. But this one will need a little bit of support. So now that I have put the cocopeat around the roots of this plant, it seems to be standing firm on its own. That's important. It needs to be well anchored into the rock. Let's do that for this as well. So for now the rock is completely covered and it looks like it's just some mounds of mud. But once the plant takes shape, the plant's roots take shape rather, it's going to we will be able to open up the root structure, and then you will be able to see the beauty of the whole landscape arrangement. I'll add a little more of the cocopeat on here. So now, because it's really not looking great with the way it is at present, Also, because whilst you're watering this, and when the cocopeat gets dried, it will start sliding out from beneath the uh, the stone, from above the stone rather, and the roots will again get exposed. So what we will do is use any kind of cotton cloth. I'm using here a piece of sack or burlap, and tie this burlap onto the rock so that it holds the cocopeat in place. And being burlap, if you're using any kind of cotton, it will degrade over time. I need a smaller piece. So you will not really need to take it out as such after it has degraded. So this will ensure that your soil is firmly on the root ball. Okay, I need to maybe tie it a bit. So this is one, the second one. So you anchor the burlap very firmly. If need be, you can add a little more soil here so that the burlap goes underneath the soil and holds firm. Okay, let me give you a front view of the whole thing. So I won't tie this one, but this one I think I'll use a little bit of cord tie. Okay, what I'll do is I'll wet this a bit so that it sits down firmly onto the root ball. Now, this is actually all that needs to be done to get to have your plant onto a rock. But looking at this arrangement, it really doesn't look nice until the time, or which would be maybe around a month or so, when you will have to take off all these things that you have tied up here and get the root ball and get the root structure to show onto the rock. So the arrangement doesn't really look that great. So let's make it a little bit more interesting. I thought I would use some plants around the whole structure, which could kind of hide whatever we have done so far and make the whole arrangement presentable. So I've got this plant. It's a low-lying, I really don't know its name, but it's a very low-lying plant. So we could do a kind of a few plants growing around this rock structure. It has a lot of, I can break them off because of the small plants. I can break it off. This plant also does well with a rock or a stony arrangement, so you can put that also on a stone and make a nice arrangement out of the whole thing. And let's add some character to this by using smaller size laterite stone. Okay, I have another fern. This is something that grows really wild in our place here. When the monsoons are on, you have this growing on every laterite stone or every wall that you have. It kind of falls like this, really looks pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grow this onto the, this is too big, onto the burlap that I have. So one here, and maybe a smaller one here. So what I'll do is I'll tease the burlap a little bit so I can get into the cocopeat, so that these ferns get a little bit of support there. Push the root ball of the fern inside the burlap till it is secure. See, this is another small one that's growing, so let's put that as well somewhere here. This has got a really good root structure. Put the root structure in like this and cover it up. Trim this a bit. So this is how they propagate. The leaf goes down and then this gets into the wall and starts getting roots there. Maybe one more here. Yes. So this kind of fills up the arrangement, gives it a little interesting look until the plants catch on to the rock. Let's trim the plant a bit, then we are done. So this one I'll do a little bit of a hard pruning. This one, since I want it to grow tall, I'll just give it a light pruning, and this will ensure that it starts branching out more and filling out. The more you prune the plant, the more it branches out. So there you have it, the arrangement. Let me see if I need to add anything more. Maybe one more plant here. This I will put between the two stones. Yes. So this is your growing on a stone landscape. Let's give it a good water. On second thoughts, I thought I will use some amount of dry sphagnum moss as well here, so that would kind of give the whole arrangement a nicer look. So the moss has been wet, squeeze out the extra water. Just apply it here. So it kind of hides the burlap as well. It will also help in giving some moisture to the plant and the stone. This fern will also enjoy the additional moisture at its root.